Hi friends, how are you? We are back with one more video. This time we are talking about Indian income tax and we want to see how we can take a perspective on. Specifically, we are talking applicability from a UAE perspective. We are not looking at other countries, we are not looking at other scenarios. So there may be multiple scenarios, but what we are looking at is the India and UAE. That means for Indian income tax and applicability for UAE resident who are either the citizen of India or holding the or a person of Indian origin. Technically speaking, POI may not be very applicable here because generally you get a resident visa or a resident card only. And hence, let's look at a citizen of India perspective. Where all this story or discussion started. I think this discussion started primarily 2-3 days back, where the liable to tax has been defined. Now there is a clause 29A being inserted as part of the definition, which says that in relation to a person means that there is a liability of tax on such person under any law for the time being in force in any country and shall include a case where subsequent to imposition of tax liability an exemption has been provided. So they're talking about you should have an income tax or equivalent kind of a structure in the country where you are asking an exemption or you are taking a treaty for. But before we jump into this liability to tax, let's understand the existing documents available either in the income tax or under the DTA, and we'll see how the implications can come up. First thing which attracts me or looks at is, let's look at what is the definition of residence in India. So I went to section 6 and it gives me a perspective. It gives me a clear-cut answer. And we are talking individuals here. So an individual is said to be a resident in India in any previous year if he, that means, is in India in that year for a period or periods amounting to 182 days or more. Full stop. So that's where if you are for 182 days or more, you are resident of India from a taxation perspective. Second thing talks about having within 4 years. That means is looking at period of 4 years preceding that year in India. So we are looking at if in the 4 years period, the period which we are assessing before that, you are in India for 365 days. That means in 4 years, you are in India for 365 days. And in that period, you are for 60 days or more in that year. So if you are, then you again become a resident of India. Now there are some exceptions which comes into this, and let's look at what is the exceptions or explanations being provided in this case. So first, which comes is for a crew of Indian ship. So what they said for a crew of Indian ship, they said section C, which is the third. If you see, I have reproduced below. They said in section 3, just replace 60 to 182 days. That means until and unless the person is not for more than 182 days in that year and 365 days in 4 years. So in 4 years, first condition, if you are here for 365 days or more, then you look at the second condition. So that's where the amendment comes into play. And technically speaking, I can say if you are not in India for 182 days or more under the crew of Indian ship, you are not being classified as resident of India. So that's an easy way of flowing it out. Now, what has changed in case of individual, the sections being amended from the previous budget. So let's look at what is being changed. It said being a citizen of India or a person of Indian origin. That means, so being a citizen of India or a person of Indian origin being outside India comes on a visit to India in a previous year. So that means you're not talking about a business, you're talking about a visit to India, and you're not shifting permanently as a base to India. So these two exceptions are excluded. In this case, the clause C, which we have read before, will be replaced from 60 to 182 days. So that's the first clause which is being changed. However, they added one condition in case the income from Indian source, that means other than foreign source, exceeding 15 lakhs, then the previous year, the word 60 days will be replaced as 120 days. Let's look at what it stands to. So what I did, I gave a clear-cut picture of how this is panning out. So if I talk about an Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin, he has an income, it's more than 15 lakhs or less than 15 lakhs. Let's look at first no. That means less than 15 lakhs. So I will look at the clause which is on the right side, which says, I should not be in India for more than 182 days or more. That means if I am less than 182 days or more, perfectly fine. And in 4 years, I should not be in India for 365 days or more. And in the previous period of 182 days or more. So this clause comes as and. Now, if my income is more than 15 lakhs, this is where the more debate or more discussion started off, where it says the clause has changed. If you see point number C, it has moved from 365 days or more in 4 years and 120 days. So 182 days, if you see on the right side, has shifted to 120 days. So this is a change has happened. Now, this is not the enough change. They have added one more thing. Let's look at further sequence. Now, with effect from 1st April 2021, that means 2-3 days back, what has happened? They added up additional clause. They said, notwithstanding anything contained in clause 1. That means forget whatever we talked in clause 1. An individual being a citizen of India having a total income other than income from foreign sources exceed 15 lakhs during the previous year shall be deemed to be a resident in India. That means whatever clauses, whatever number of days comes in, we will consider to be you to be a deemed resident of India. In that previous year, if he is not liable to tax, now the condition coming in, not liable to tax. It's an interesting point. We will deliberate more on this from a UAE perspective. In any other country or territory, by reason of his domicile or residence or other criteria of similar nature. So let's look at how it is being translated. They gave further explanation. Now, the important point, if you see on the bottom, which I have given, for the purpose of this section, the expression income from foreign sources means income accrue or arise outside India, except income derived from a business controlled in or profession set up in India. So technically speaking, if you are having a business in India or a business which is outside India and you are controlling from India, then the income of foreign entity or a foreign sources may be constituted or deemed to be derived from India. And they talked about profession set up in India. So if I have a profession in India and you earn income from outside, that is deemed to be considered as income earned in India perspective. So that's where the catch or the pain area which comes into from a taxation side. But let's look at, I think what we need to see again. So what I did, I used the same flow chart, but I translated no is same. So if you see on the right side, it is coming in the same angle. So if you are not having an income of more than 15 lakhs, just look at your 182 days clause and you are good to go. But if you have an income of more than 15 lakhs, then you have to look at two sections. Point number one, is it not liable to tax outside India? If not, then you are considered as a deemed resident. We are not looking at the number of days here. But however, if you are liable to tax outside India, that means we are looking at the period and all those conditions will come into play. Now, this is a catch here. So if you see whether we call UAE as a liable to tax or not liable to tax. So for this, what I did, I looked at the agreement between UAE and India, which is a avoidance of double taxation and prevention of fiscal evasion and respect to taxes on income and on capital. So the first point which we looked at, and as I said, I'm going to talk only about individuals. We are not looking at a corporate or other entities because there are various clauses which are there. So this specified two conditions to be classified as a resident, which is defined in Article 4 of the agreement I'm talking about between UAE and India. For the purpose of agreement, the term resident of contracting state means in case of India, any person who under the law of India is liable to tax therein by reason of his domicile, residence, place of management, or other criteria of similar nature. So they have defined clearly, it's a domicile, residence, place of management, other criteria, which is open section, which normally comes with all tax regime. The term, however, does not include any person who is liable to tax in India respect of only of income from the sources in India. So if income is from India, then there's no point in coming to this section even. So whether you earned it or whether you are a resident of UAE or not, any income which is earned in India has to be taxed in India. So that's an exclusion which is said. For UAE, it's a very interesting point because this is where a lot of people have an ambiguity where they say, I have a resident card of UAE. That does not define to you to be a resident of UAE from a tax perspective I'm talking about. Now, in this case, in the case of UAE, an individual who is present in UAE for a period or periods totaling to an aggregate of 183 days in the calendar year concerned, and for the company, let's leave it out. But what they say is for the company which is incorporated in UAE and which is managed and controlled wholly in UAE. That means there is no control which is setting outside. So that's what they call about a resident from a UAE perspective. Now, if we just go back and refresh what we talked about. So we said who can be a resident, how I can be a resident of India and how can be a resident of UAE. There are scenarios where you can be a resident of both the location. That's where the challenge or the things comes up to. I'll be liable to tax outside India. I'm considering right now UAE is having a taxation regime, and on account of double tax avoidance agreement, we are not liable to tax in India for what a UAE person or a UAE resident earns in UAE if the criteria are met. What are those criteria? So considering liable to tax outside UAE, UAE is part of it, and you're having an income of more than 15 lakhs for that condition. For being a resident of India, I need to serve the conditions. Now here, the condition is 120 days. If I'm in a year for more than 120 days or more, and in last preceding years, 365 days or more, I may become a resident of India. Whereas in UAE, I need to be in UAE for 183 days or more. So you can see there can be of India. However, still you stayed in 183 days or more in UAE, you become a resident of UAE also. Now, what we do for this? Now, for this, we have to go and look at, there is something called a tiebreaker rule. That's where, what if you are a resident of both the countries? Now we look at those pointers which comes into play. Now, these are pointers which are again part of the avoidance agreement or the double taxation avoidance agreement, which is between UAE and India. And there are certain conditions which are classified where it says, okay, we are talking about an agreement between government of Republic of India and UAE on avoidance of double taxation. Here, if you see what they talk about, where by reason of a provision in paragraph 1, an individual is a resident of both contracting states, then this status shall be determined as follows. So that means they said, if you are a resident of both the countries, then you do this principle. So first principle talks about, he shall be deemed to be a resident in the state in which he has a permanent home available to him. That means where you reside, where your house, either it's an owned house or a rented house, does not make a difference, but house is an important factor. If he has a permanent home available to him, both the states, then what we do? So there are conditions where people have the house in India also and UAE also. Then he shall be deemed to be a resident of the state which a personal and economic relations are closer. That means we are looking at how you earn the money. What kind of a source of income you are generating? What is the base from which source of income is coming up? So that becomes a definition or inclination for looking at resident status. If the state in which he has a center of vital interest cannot be determined, or if he has not have a permanent home in either state, he shall be deemed to be a resident in the state where he has a habitual abode. So where we are talking about habitual abode comes into, where on account of, let's say you're staying in a hotel accommodation or a service apartment, but you stay in a country for a longer period of time. So that's what the details or those information need to be looked at. Again, if still we are not able to get from a habitual abode perspective in both the states, or you are staying in both the countries in a specific way, then it shall be determined based on the nationality you hold. What passport you are holding will come up to that. UAE generally does not have the nationality being provided to the Indian nationals, but can be the cases because of changes which we have seen. In that case, the competent authority come into picture and they need to define that where we are going to tax to, or where you are going to treat to be taxed to. Now, if you look at all the scenarios, now let's look at and come back to the previous provisions which we talked about. So first thing is an individual, citizen or person of Indian origin having an income of less than 15 lakhs, no problem. You have a criteria, 182 days criteria, look at it and you are done. If you are more than 115 lakhs, then you need to look at whether not liable to tax outside India. From my perspective, UAE is considered as a liable to tax because we have a double tax avoidance agreement and there is a very clear taxation treaty which is there, which defines the residential status. Now comes the criteria. That means we are looking at 120 days. So this is where the catch comes into. One point I will just refer here. Section 6 also talked about non-ordinary resident. So not ordinary resident, there is a specific taxation which is there and which is very important to look at. Let's look at Section 6 on Income Tax Act talks about a person is said to be a not ordinary resident in India in any previous year. If such person is an individual who has been a non-resident in India in 9 out of 10 previous years. So you are a non-resident with the previous definitions, or has during 7 preceding years of that year being in India for a period of amounting to 729 days or less. So any of the conditions fulfill, you are a not ordinary resident. Similar thing applies for HUF. We are not going to look at that, but let's look at the criteria, which is point number C. Here it says a citizen of India or a person of Indian origin having a total income other than income from foreign sources exceeding 15 lakhs. So this is what we referred and looked at previous sections also. During the previous year, as referred to in previous clause explanation 1 we talked about, who has been in India for a period or periods amounting to 120 days or more, but less than 182 days. So that means you are there in India for 182 days or more, but less than 182 days. So you are putting a bracket in between that. So if you are that, then you are still a resident, but not ordinary resident. And the last thing comes a citizen of India who is deemed to be resident in India under clause 1A. Now, deeming provision, if you remember, has come up in the previous section. So let's look at what the deeming provision comes in. So if you see the first leg, which is not liable to tax outside India, is still a deemed resident. It's not classified as a resident. But however, when you look at a liable to tax outside India, 182 days, up to 122 days, 120 days, it is considered as a resident. 182 days or less than 182 days, it is considered as resident, but not ordinary resident. So how it makes a difference to be a resident or not ordinary resident? Let's look at this section. Now, if you see, there are criteria of income which are being defined for resident, not ordinary resident, and non-resident. First, income deemed or received in India. So any income you receive in India, there is no ambiguity. I think everyone is clear. It has to be taxed in all the categories, whether you are resident or non-resident or not ordinary resident. Now, the question comes where income which accrue or arise outside India from business controlled in India or profession set up in India. So remind yourself, this is a profession set up in India, not profession set up outside India. And the business which is maybe set up outside India, but controlled in India. So very important definition or very important trigger points comes on the POEM side also, place of effective management. In these cases, if you see, if you're a resident, ordinary resident, or resident and not ordinary resident, the section is getting applicable, but for non-resident, it is not. So this is where the change comes into play. But here, where you have an income which accrues or rise from outside India from other sources. Now, other sources, if you see above, the section which only talks about controlled in India or a profession set up in India. They're not talking about salary, they're not talking about interest, they're not talking about any other income which is being accrued or arise. So that means we're talking about a rental income being earned in UAE or a salary income earned in UAE. It is not getting categorized as a resident, as for the resident or not ordinary resident also. It is still outside the purview from a taxation perspective. Look at that section, it's very important. And the last thing, which is again an important factor, where foreign asset disclosure requirement from an income tax perspective. So a lot of people are not very comfortable in disclosing their assets. Here also, RNOR or resident but not ordinary resident and non-residents are not complied or not required from a law perspective. Yes, questions can be asked from various sources, but not as a requirement. Now, what to ensure? So this is where I will say, if income is less than INR 15 lakhs in India, then stay in UAE for 183 days or more in each calendar year, and stay in India for not more than 181 days in any financial year. So if you follow that principle, you are done. You don't have to look at a taxation perspective. There is no challenge which is coming from India side. What if my income is more than 15 lakhs in India? Look at some additional checks. So ensure that you stay in UAE for 183 days or more in each calendar year. And don't stay in India for more than 119 days. 119 days, that means less than 120 days in any financial year. And second is, should not have any income which accrue or arise outside India from a business controlled in India or profession set up in India. So make sure you tick those boxes. If you are ticking those boxes, there is no implication which is coming from a taxation side. A lot of friends from a salary side are getting thoughts what to do and how to do. There is no concern for that. So far, you are not in the business or profession. There is no taxation coming up. UAE is anyway part of a double tax avoidance agreement treaty. And the treaty is very well valid. And that's treaty is only looking at the resident status. And the resident status has to be very clearly monitored. So in UAE, you cannot say that I hold a resident visa and hence I'm a tax resident. No, you are not. You can only be a tax resident if you stay in UAE for 183 days or more in each calendar year. One more thing I need to highlight you. If you see, UAE follows the calendar year principle and India is following the financial year principle. So make sure you tie up both the sections. Don't miss on that, and that can be a challenging if the numbers of days moves here and there. So let's look at why this has come up. So it's just a revisit of what we are talking about. So my understanding and my thought process goes is they are looking at OECD, which is Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, inclusive framework on BEPS, which is base erosion and profit shifting, very specific to point 6, that is prevention of tax treaty abuse. And they're looking at simply those people or those individuals who are not a tax resident of any country. That means if you're not a tax resident of any country and you are shifting your profits from a higher tax jurisdiction to lower tax jurisdiction by not calling yourself a tax resident of any country, those are the target segment which this section is looking at. And that's where the authorities and income tax department is looking at to review for. So that's quite a snapshot. And I can tell you for salaried employees, you don't need to be worried about. If you have seen the previous slide, and if not, then please revisit that. They are only targeting majorly business and profession. One, business which is controlled from India, and profession which is set up in India. So if these two conditions are coming up, then definitely there is a catch. And just watch the number of days which you are managing in which country, and that becomes a very important from a taxation perspective. Hope you like the video. It's a very short video and talking about too many things. I'm sure some things have got clarified. If not, I'll recommend you to just revisit the video again, and I'm sure it will be helpful for all of you. Thank you very much. Have a great time. Hope to see you again. Till time, take care. Bye-bye.